It was perhaps both the best and worst way Episode VII could have ended. A pleading Rey wordlessly holding out Anakin's lightsaber to Luke, who does nothing more than give her a look back that could have represented a vast array of emotions. Despite how brief it is, and that no words are actually spoken, I think we can make some good assumptions about what's going on in Luke's mind and what he's feeling at this moment. I think we can even guess at how Episode 8 will start, since we've heard the next movie is going to pick up right where this one left off, which I'd like to add no other Star Wars saga movie has ever done before. There's always been a few years gap in between them at least. Anyway, when Luke first pulls back his hood, he looks at Rey with a very inquisitive look, almost like, "Who are you? Why are you here? And most importantly, how did you find me?" Watch the scene again if you disagree. There really isn't a look of recognition or understanding on his face at all. He's really waiting for her to do or say something to explain herself in her presence, and her explanation is simply to pull out the lightsaber, and that's when his expression immediately starts to change. Why is that? A lot of people speculate that this is the moment he recognizes Rey, either as his long-lost daughter or someone he helped hide years ago for some other reason. For now, though, let's not worry about whether Luke knows her or not, and let's look at some of the things we can no doubt guess that he's feeling and thinking at this moment. First, the last time Luke saw that lightsaber was the moment before he had his hand cut off, the one holding it, of course, by Darth Vader, the Dark Lord of the Sith who was about to destroy everything he once believed and held true by telling him that he was his father. Obviously, that's not a pleasant memory, even if it's something he's probably long since come to terms with. Next, we know Luke has given up on training Jedi and gone off in search of the first Jedi Temple, likely looking for answers on what he did wrong or perhaps what he should do now. We know that Ben Solo was his apprentice and that he turned on him and helped destroy the new Jedi Order he was building. Not only does Luke likely see this as a personal failure, but he's also failed his sister and his best friend by losing their son to the dark side, when they trusted Luke to save Ben from it. Now, in the movie, and especially in the Force Awakens novel, we learn that both Han and Leia feel a lot of blame for his turn, and Leia also very much blames Snoke, who she seems to know was watching her son from the shadows for years. Neither one seems to blame Luke, but that doesn't mean he doesn't blame himself. Then there's the fact that it's quite likely he senses through the Force, or maybe just from his sister Leia, that Kylo Ren, his old apprentice, has killed his best friend Han Solo. I would imagine that this makes his failure feel complete, and that wound is still no doubt very fresh when Rey shows up with the lightsaber. So why is all this relevant? Because when Rey pulls out that saber, he realizes she's come here to be trained, and he's not ready to do that again, or maybe even ever again. And for those who think Luke's trained her before, or that Rey has received training of any kind, I point to Obi-Wan's words in the Force Vision. "Rey, these are your first steps." He's very much implying that her journey is just beginning. Okay, now yes, it is possible that Luke stems from the fact that Luke knows exactly who she is and that she's not supposed to be here. It may even mean he knows she's his daughter, because he personally hid her or she was kidnapped at some point or for some other reason. I personally don't believe this to be the case, but I can't dismiss that it is a possibility. I think that Rey is little more than the awakening that Snoke and Kylo Ren felt and talk about earlier in the movie, an awakening that Luke has no doubt also felt. And when she shows up, he realizes she is that awakening and that she has come here to be trained by him. And for those who'd like to argue, that's not how the Force works, to steal Han's line, let's remember that the Force always seeks to be in balance, and, as Lord Santeca says at the start of the movie, there can be no balance without the Jedi. So perhaps the Force has simply chosen Rey to seek out Luke to be trained to help restore the imbalance that Snoke and Kylo Ren are creating in his absence. Whether you like it or not, she could just be a randomly chosen girl that the Force is awakening in. Another interesting point is that in the currently released book Ahsoka, we learned quite a bit about Kyber crystals. Those are of course the crystals that power lightsabers. We know that they are almost sentient and actually choose their own masters and call out to them to be found. A lot of people like to point to the fact that the lightsaber choosing Rey over Ren before the fight scene is proof that she's a Skywalker. I'd argue, thanks to this new info, that the saber itself, or more specifically the crystal within, is trying to get back to Luke, its true master. This may be a bit of a stretch, but perhaps it knows Rey is being sent by the Force to Luke, hence it picks her. Again, a long shot, but there might be something to it. Another possibility for that look on Luke's face is that Luke has given up on fighting and even discarded his old green lightsaber. There's even a rumor that Luke fights exclusively with the Force in Episode 8, not with a lightsaber at all, though I'd wager at some point he'll ignite that old blue saber and probably use it in Episode 9. Perhaps when he sees his old saber, which should still be somewhere in the atmosphere of Bespin, he realizes the Force is trying to tell him, you have to fight. Yes, fighting is supposed to be the Jedi's last resort, but with Snoke and Kylo Ren left unchallenged to grow in power, that last resort will be needed soon. So how will episode 8 likely start, assuming that what we've heard is true and it picks up right where 7 left off? Well, even if Luke is her father, and even if he knows this, I highly doubt the reveal would come in the first scene of the movie. That just doesn't make sense. Most likely Luke will tell her that she shouldn't have come here, or that she doesn't know what she's asking of him to be trained, or what she herself is getting into. Being a Jedi is a hard life, as told by Qui-Gon to Anakin in episode 1. It's not one most rational people would choose, to give up so much, never expecting or wanting anything in return. It's not one Luke really even chose for himself either, if you think about it. He had it thrust upon him. So maybe, just maybe, Luke wanted his daughter to have the choice he didn't have, and that's why she was hidden. Though that doesn't explain why he'd leave her with Unkar Plutt on Jakku, does it? Anyway, before I again try to convince myself that Luke is her father, which I believed up until reading the book Bloodlines, and examining the movie a bit closer, I'll also say that Luke is going to refuse to take the saber from Rey. That just makes sense and goes along with the rumor he doesn't use a saber in episode 8. And how amazing will it be when he finally does take back the saber and square off against Snoke or his old apprentice Kylo Ren, or even both at the same time. What will make him change his mind and take up the saber again and to train Rey? That's really hard to speculate on, so I'll just leave it at that for now. Well, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this one to come, and also more videos about other aspects of Star Wars. Also, please feel free to post in the comments below what you think about all this. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have a theory of your own? Please, let me know.